Okay, so just wanted to share this video of the progress of the veggie beds that I made for Wong. So I just purchased some sleepers from Bunnings. These are usually about $14–15 each for 2.4 meters. So if you're interested in looking for them, they're actually 200mm by 50mm. And just make sure they're the H4 types, which means that it's not going to rot as quickly because they're going to be in contact with the ground and moisture and everything. So all I'm doing here is pre-drilling holes before I put the screws in, because if you put the screws in just straight through, there's a likelihood that they'll split the wood. So it should be all right because this wood's pretty thick and pretty strong, but I didn't want to take that chance. So what I'm doing, I'm just putting some stones and rocks underneath to get them level, and then later on I remove them and fill in the gaps with dirt later on. And the thing is, my backyard, it's not a perfect rectangle. It's actually like a trapezoid type of weird shape, different angles, different lengths along the sides. And one tip that I got from a video I watched was that if the beds are going to be different lengths, then what you need to do is make sure that the gaps between the beds are all equal. That way it won't look as weird. And see here with my string lines, it doesn't look straight, but what it is just as a guide to have the beds all equal away from the back edge. And here I am just cutting up some wood. One thing I learnt from using this tool, which I just bought, is to take multiple passes of cutting the wood. Don't try to do one single pass because there's too much friction against the blade.
That is the best hour you've spent on Lego Masters yet. Quite a fair margin.
And here's the first couple of cuts. So again, I've just made sure that they're equidistant from the actual gutter, the edge of the concrete at the bottom. And then later on, I'll be doing the angles on the actual pieces of wood so that it's all neat. So I'm just putting a string line so that I can mark off the angles that I need to do a bevel cut. And here I just asked Wong to walk through, have a bit of a test run before I connect everything together, before we put all the soil in, so have a feel for you know, how far she needs to reach to get to the vegetables, and if there's enough space walking through. And luckily for me, she was pretty happy. All good. And that space was actually 600mm. I used to cut these sleepers with a circular saw, just a hand one, and they were pretty. I think it was like $50 from Bunnings, pretty cheap. Because when I bought it, at the time I only needed it for one project, and I ended up keeping it for a couple of years, but it just kind of died recently. So obviously I had to get a new toy, and that was the Makita sliding compound miter saw. It's good because I can cut thick lengths of wood. Alright, so here I am just putting these connectors. Really, those connectors is just to stop the soil going in between the pieces of wood. And I made sure that they're just a little bit lower than the actual lengths of wood. It's just more of a, I don't know, like a, you don't have to make it lower, but I like it like that anyway. And you'll see there on the ground, there's compost, because what I did was I dug out some of the dirt to put underneath those gaps that I created earlier. And then I used our compost to kind of fill in the holes. I mean, that'll all break down anyway. The girls are just watching Lego Masters on TV. The soil that I got was from a local nursery, and it was just called Veggie Mix, and it's a mixture of soil, broken down bark, bits and pieces, and I've used it before. It's pretty good. I made sure that I laid the tarp down because once you scoop everything up, it's just easier for cleanup. Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen. I got 1 cubic meter, but I should have got just under 2, so it was all right. I was able to scoop up 1 cubic meter into the beds before it started raining, so it actually worked out. So the lesson that I learned is, if you think that you got enough, maybe times it by 1.5 just to have it extra. It's better to have extra.
Thanks, see ya.
Alright, so now I start putting the soil in, and you'll notice at the bottom of each of the beds I haven't connected anything yet because it's just easier for me to wheelbarrow in the soil, dump it, and then wheelbarrow it back out, and then when I've got enough in there, then I can put the end caps on each of the beds. And then if I need to put extra, then I can just put the wheelbarrow in between the beds and haul the soil over. So that's pretty much it. Pretty straightforward. And I'm thinking whether or not to put these planks of wood across so that it's something for Wong to rest her tools on, or just to walk over if she wanted to the next bed. That's it.